Cooper Webb, you're back. Anaheim won again. This time a new bike, old team. Excited, nervous? What are the feelings now? You're more experienced.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty calming for me at the moment, but I could change for sure. But yeah, it's good. Like I said, I've been in this situation a lot of A1s so far, and the last few years have been a lot better at A1 for me than years past. So I think for me, yeah, we've had a great off season. I learned a lot after SMX, what we need to work on. Feel like my fitness is back where it needs to be, my riding's back where it needs to be, and stuff with the bike is back. So it's been awesome. Had a lot of young guys that have been fast at the farm and keeping me young, so that's been cool. And yeah, having Eli as a teammate too, and testing and stuff like that together has been really cool. So yeah, I'm happy, pumped, and still feel like I got a lot to prove. I think we're getting a little bit written off maybe. So come in and do what we always do.
Did you learn much in the SMX in Paris of what you needed, or was it just you were planning that was just basically testing, and now you're ramping it up and we're going to see the real Cooper Webb?
I think for me, those races, I know it sounds bad, but they don't mean much. So for me, I think it was just kind of we were late getting started on SMX, which is fine, and then Paris, honestly, I thought was going to be a little better, but I look at last year where Brayton was, no offense Brayton, I love JB, but he was kicking my butt in Paris, and then 6 weeks later I was contending for a win at A1, and I think this year at Paris I was actually a bit closer, but I feel like I'm a complete different person from then. So, but it's good. Like I said, it was really good, honestly, for me to get my ass kicked and get my things in gear to know what it needs to take to win again.
So how do you like the bike? Big change from the KTM. Do you feel comfortable on it now and ready?
Yeah, for sure. It does a lot of things good. I think for me the whoops the last few years have been a struggle. So to get back to hitting the whoops the way I'd like to is really nice. The turning, is great again, just like how it was on the KTM. And I think for me, I've said it a lot, but the KYB suspension, I'm a big fan of. So, for me, it's been super comforting. The biggest difference, as I talked about, was just kind of going back to the Japanese-style bikes and stuff like that. But, yeah, we made a lot of changes, and I feel like we've gotten the best out of the Yamaha and then the best out of, what I like. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where we stack up. I haven't touched a click in, a few weeks now, so it's been really nice.
And just regarding being teammates with Eli, last year you were both going for the title a couple of years before. You were yelling at him on the start gate. How is it going to change how you ride, or your personality, your aggression with Eli coming down the stretch? If it's a title challenge again, or no?
I think if it's title challenge, I think we know each other enough to go, hey, we take the gloves off and go. But no, there's always been a lot of respect between us. There's obviously we've raced together and raced hard for titles the last really 5 years, and so yeah, there's a lot of respect, but we also I know want to beat each other. So it'll be interesting, but I think at this point we're both getting older and can use each other to help maybe beat the new younger guys, right? So it'll be interesting for sure, but so far everything's been clear sailing, and it's just nice to have the same personnel and be on the same bike, honestly, and be able to know, hey, it's kind of make the best guy win.
Anders, finally on Jett, he went undefeated outdoors. For the rest of you guys, you're all champions, most of you. Is there a motivation to beat him early so he doesn't get this momentum and confidence again, or are you just focusing on yourself?
I don't think we know, right? Obviously, I didn't race a ton of outdoors, so he was incredible outdoors. He was really good at SMX, but I think we're all here to race and try to win, and you can't really focus on one guy, but he's definitely a unique rookie. He's going to come in and haul ass, that's for sure, and can see him coming in really, really fast. But like I said up there and how I feel with myself, I know what I can do over 17 rounds. I always put myself in a fight, and it's one thing to be fast, but you got to be consistent, that's for sure, and I'm sure he'll be both. But it's a whole new season. You never know what can happen in our sport.
Thank you. Jorge Prado, you're over here in Southern California. First of all, does this beat riding Lommel in December?
It's a bit different. Quite different. Riding with roll-offs and rain jacket, and here you can almost wear shorts. So no, it's a cool different winter, but for sure I think it's even good for motocross and for as preparation for MXGP. So excited.
And you probably couldn't have picked a more difficult season to come in. It's maybe the deepest class in 20 years or so. How are you feeling sitting up there in the press conference seeing all the other guys? Are you excited, nervous? What are your emotions?
I'm, like I said already 1,000 times, super excited. It's a great year to make it happen, not only because the great field, but also after my success in 2023, winning the World Championship in MXGP. I think it's the right time to come over and test Supercross. So I think it's a perfect decision, and hopefully we can get a lot of experience and also so I can have a clear mind for the future and see what I want.
How have you felt on the bike? You've only had 6 weeks really, and say back and forth for the FIM awards and stuff. That's not a lot of time compared to what these guys have, but your skill set's so good. You think you can compete with them?
Yeah, I mean, so after Nations, I came over. I spent a week and a half, and then I had to go back to Europe. I came over for a week, and I had to go back to Europe. So I had some interruption, let's say, in the beginning of the building, let's say, but I got now around 5 weeks straight of training, which was okay. We got some testing done. I feel good with the bike. I feel very good with the bike. I think for the time I have been on track and testing, we have a good setup, and that's important, right? So when I go on track and I feel comfortable, everything feels better. And for the rest, I try my best with the little time I have to get as prepared as possible, and I think I'm not too bad.
And how different is your bike from your MXGP bike? With frames and suspension, is it difficult to adjust to that difference for Supercross?
It's totally different. Because Supercross is totally different to motocross, so obviously suspension, frame, everything needs to be different. But what I say, I like my bike in Europe for MXGP, and I like my bike here for racing Supercross.
So the hype here in America is at kind of different level to MXGP. Even though you're MXGP World Champion, guys here are going to not know you. I think now even as soon as you went to test Supercross 6 weeks ago, you got a bigger name in America. Is it nice to have that kind of appreciation on this side?
I think they do a good job here, right? I think the media, it's great. I think Feld is doing a great job too. And it's nice for sport, it's nice for the rider as well. And I need to say I feel very comfortable. From the first day I had to do all the media stuff with Feld to now, I feel like they work very nice. And I'm super excited to see how everything rolls during the race day. Because also for me, everything is new, right? The format and everything. So I'm happy.
So you weren't the first guy to come over for a couple of rounds testing. Jean-Michel Bale did it. He was 1-1-1 as well. 89. Stefan Everts did it in 92. I don't know if he's texted you any advice. He was 1-1-1 as well, and he was pretty top 10, top 5 speed. Tortelli came over as well, won a race. Greg Albertine was 1-1-1. So you're kind of going back in time a wee bit to 20 years ago, and you're kind of doing it too. So it's not as new as maybe the modern fan thinks, and it all helped them. They won world titles after it. I guess that's what you're hoping as well.
I mean, it's so different, right? Comparing Supercross to now to more than 20 years ago, right? Supercross developed so much that it almost became a different sport. Right now, the difference between Supercross and motocross is so much bigger than maybe 30 years ago, right? So, but no, I'm happy that we could make this work, because racing full time in Europe, also for the brand, it's difficult to allow even a rider to make this step. So to get all this support and make it happen, it's very appreciated from my side. And like I said, we are here to get experience.
And is it just the 3 rounds? If you do well, is there any extension to that at the end of January, or do you know?
I mean, our goal is to revalidate the title at MXGP. So after 3 rounds, I need to go back to Europe and try to win again the MXGP title.
And do you think this will help you with the intensity of Supercross going back to MXGP?
I think everything from Supercross. I think the position, the way of racing, the way of handling the bike, I think everything helps. And for sure, when I get back to motocross, I will feel even better.
Yeah.
Or that's what I expect. So we'll see. I think it's a good preparation too for motocross. Yeah. Why not?
Thank you, Prado. All the best. Webb and Cianciarulo, you're back for another year, obviously on Kawasaki. The new bike compared to last year, what are the biggest differences for you in comfort and maybe expectation for results?
As far as the bike is concerned, I think it's definitely a step up comfort-wise. For me, it's kind of, you're always talking about the pitch of the motorcycle, kind of getting the thing to pitch a little bit less, and for me it's just more stable. The weight on the front tire and the back tire kind of it just feels like a more balanced motorcycle for me, and that's made me feel more comfortable in a lot of areas, the whoops, middle of the turns, especially slick ones. But yeah, so lots of positive things there. And as far as expectations, I feel like I kind of just grown out of that phase in a way. You know, it's like I just go out there and do my best, and it is what it is.
So last year, you had the injury the year before that, you came back and you had the speed. So I tried to put myself in your position. Were you happy you had the speed, or were you frustrated that your arm didn't let you get the results you were capable of? How did you deal with that in your mind?
To be honest, I don't think I had the speed last year, really. I wasn't, it just, some of the off-season work and coming back off my knee injury, I wasn't up to, you know, I could only do so much. I did my best, and I was happy with my effort and what I was able to put out there. But yeah, I was definitely held back by some things, and to be honest, I still might be held back by some things this year. So for me, that's what it's all about: doing my best for the people that support me.
And the wrist arm, is that better this year? Have you been able to help it, or do you not really know till the racing starts?
So yes, it's been better. Its nerves are weird. I mean, sometimes it's still bad, and sometimes it's good. But in general, I'm in a much better spot. I've done a lot more laps. I'm in better shape. I have more speed, and my technique's coming around a little bit too. So I've improved all the other areas around that a lot, and I think it'll show on the racetrack.
So you're pretty smart and very articulate. But Ricky Carmichael said last year on one of the broadcasts that he thinks you overthink. Is that something you agree with? Because you're always thinking about stuff, or no?
Well, I think I understand what he's saying. You know, I think the way I choose to analyze things, sometimes you can assume, like you would just assume that's what I do with everything, right? And I think when I was younger, yes, that's the case. But sometimes you do just have to shut your brain off and keep it simple, you know, and not. It's not like I'm going out there and I have 25 things running through my head all the time. It's like sometimes ignorance is bliss, and you kind of got to hone into that, right? But definitely with some of the things I analyze in some of my interviews and stuff like that, I can totally see how that would lead someone to believe that, you know, I'm an overthinker. But I feel that I've grown a lot in that area over the course of my life.
And I would say you're on your way to being an analyst once your career's over. Is that something you want to do? Because you're pretty much ideal for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I've always been a fan of the sport, you know, beyond racing, and of course I'm very excited to have the opportunities I do to race and to be a part of this, and I hope to contribute, you know, give back to the sport in that way whenever the time does come.
So looking back at your career, I'm from Northern Ireland, so I was seeing Ken Rocks and Jeffrey Hurling type, but in America you were that guy over there, and in my head I was expecting you to do what they did, and I'm sure you were too. And with your ups and downs of your career, how hard is that? You won your whole life and then you hear of winning injuries. How hard has that been to deal with mentally as a racer if you have that expectation growing up?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, we can sit here and talk about that for 3 hours. You know, it's one of those things where, like, yes, it definitely was difficult. Like, I always knew pros are going to be harder than amateurs, right? Like, you're not going to, just because I won every race as an amateur, I didn't expect to win every race as a pro, but I did feel I was capable of winning a lot more than I have so far in my career, for sure. But if I look back at my career, everything that was in my control, I feel that I've done. Hindsight's 20/20. Like, I can say, oh, don't do this, or you know, slow down here so you don't crash, right? But at the time, I was doing my best with everything I did. And there's a lot of things that have happened behind the scenes that people don't know and people won't ever know, and that's fine. But I feel that I feel that I have succeeded in terms of the things that I can control, you know, and of course I'm competitive and I want to win. I don't hold myself to a super low standard now because it, you know, like I still believe I can do that, right? But I've won in so many other ways. You know, there's so much more to life than just, you know, winning championships and winning races. And I've already accomplished more in the sport than 99.9% of people ever do. You know, so it's just all about how you look at it, right? It's like, I was the child prodigy, right? Like the LeBron guy. So you're expecting this, but what gets lost in that is the fact that not many people get to win races at this level. I won a championship.
Exactly. You're still a champion.
I've made
yeah.
millions of dollars. Like, who does that on
Yeah.
a dirt bike? Like, I'm just some kid from Florida.
Yeah.
You know, and but yeah, I mean, of course, it's come with its ups and downs,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for those in the end.
Brilliant, Alan. Thank you very much.